Good evening, folks. This is Deb. Tonight, we want to talk to you for a little bit about RFK Jr., who has a couple of confirmation hearings coming up this week. Robert F. Kennedy must not be confirmed as the head of Health and Human Services. That would be a disaster for the American public health system across the board. Now, let's talk a little bit about him. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is probably most known for all of the bullshit he spread during the COVID-19 pandemic. You know, this is a guy whose Children's Health Defense sued the federal government to prevent the vaccine from being given to children, okay? He is also the guy who made the statement that COVID-19 is an ethnically targeted virus designed to attack Caucasians and Blacks, and that the most immune to the COVID-19 virus were Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese, stating all of this with absolutely no evidence. And by the way, PolitiFacts gave that the lie of the year in 2023, okay? He is a man who, you know, in 2005, he was doing this. This was not new with COVID. In 2005, okay, he jumped on the whole MMR vaccine causes autism routine. And that was largely based on the fact that, according to him, the mercury in the vaccine is what was causing autism. Well, there was never any evidence of any of that to begin with. But in fact, in 2005, when he received documents from a psychologist, a woman who insisted this was the case with her child, he didn't even blink an eye. He founded the Children's Health Defense, and he tells everyone to follow the science, none of which is there. What is there is plenty of pseudoscience, but no real science. In fact, let me talk a little bit about the MMR vaccine causing autism. That has been debunked on a worldwide basis. Studies have been done, not just here in the United States, but in several other foreign countries that totally debunk that assertion. First of all, thimerosal was taken out of vaccines completely in 2001, well before 2005. And in fact, thimerosal, which is a mercury-based preservative, was never used in the MMR vaccine, not from day one. Robert F. Kennedy is feeding the American public a bucket of lies, and people fall for it because it's Robert F. Kennedy Jr., okay? He's got the last name. The last name brings credibility. Not only has he attacked the MMR vaccine and the COVID-19 vaccine, but he went after the Gardasil vaccine, which is manufactured by Merck to prevent the spread of the human papillomavirus, which causes cervical cancer. According to him, in Australia, girls are showing evidence of cervical cancer after getting the vaccine. Well, you know what? That's impossible, because there is actually no human papillomavirus used in the vaccine. It's a completely inert vaccine. Okay? He fudges numbers, he cherry picks data, and he presents it as facts. That is what Robert F. Kennedy does. By the way, as the head of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy has absolutely no medical background whatsoever. He may have taken biology in school, but that would be the extent of it. He is an attorney, and he is litigating cases against Merck and says he will continue to take the fees from those cases, even if he is confirmed. That is a clear conflict of interest, my friends. That should not be allowed. Now, he claims that he is no longer the chairman or the chief legal counsel for Children's Health Defense. But I can tell you this, his anti-vax campaigns have made him a wealthy man. He's brought in at least $1.5 million to himself as a result of everything he has done to discredit the American public health system. A couple of other specific points. He paid a visit to Samoa in 2019, where he continued to sow the seeds of distrust. After his visit, a measles outbreak occurred. About 7,500 people contracted the measles, and 83 of them died, mostly children. And it was so bad that New Zealand had to ship in coffins because Samoa ran out of children's coffins. This is not the man who should be heading our Health and Human Services Department. We spend all of this time vilifying Anthony Fauci for absolutely no good reason whatsoever. A man who has served the American public for decades, is a real scientist, a man who made great advances with the AIDS virus so that it is no longer a 100% killer, but it is now a chronic disease and people can live well into their 80s with it. That was all due to Anthony Fauci's work, not only as a researcher, but as a doctor who also treated AIDS patients. And we're looking at Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to head Health and Human Services, a man with absolutely no medical background whatsoever. Now, in his position, he will have control over the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Food and Drug Administration, the National Institutes of Health, and the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. Who have they chosen to run the Medicare and Medicaid Services portion of that program? Another pseudoscience whack job nut named Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz, whose television show and website were found to be 40% junk science. A doctor who is a surgeon who gave up that practice because he knew he could make more money selling supplements. A man who's gone on and said that Garcinia Cambogia is a miracle weight loss drug, which actually never did anything for anybody. A man who continues to spread false information. So we've got the double whammy of idiocy here. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Mehmet Oz spreading lies and bullshit to the American people about what they should be doing with their health. By the way, under Mehmet Oz and RFK Jr., they will also have responsibility for implementing the Affordable Care Act. So all combined, they will hold the fate of 168 million Americans in their hands. They should not have this responsibility, neither one of them. Mehmet Oz has already expressed his support for privatizing Medicare. RFK Jr. must not be confirmed. I'm hearing things about his confirmation now that really disturbed me. Before I go, I just have to say this. I'm hearing rumors that Sheldon Whitehouse is thinking of voting for RFK Jr. because they are friends. Now, he has always been a stand-up guy who's done the right thing. You must contact him and tell him he should not be basing this vote on friendship, but basing this vote on what is best for the American people. And what is best for the American people is that RFK Jr. must never be put in this position. Please, folks, get on the phone now and start calling your senators. And do not stop calling. He's got 2 hearings this week. And then it will be decided whether or not to send him forward for a full vote in the Senate. He must not be confirmed. Sheldon Whitehouse switching to a yes vote from the Democratic Party would be a disaster. Everybody is going to need to contact him and let him know that he should not be supporting RFK Jr. That is not in the best interest of the American people. I will talk to you all later.